What's up, everybody? My name is Jason, and welcome to the $2.2 trillion HEROES Act and $50,000 EIDL grant. What is that? It's debate day, September 29th, early in the morning, so please give this tired old man a thumbs up. Hashtag EIDL with all your comments below. Share this video all over social media. Don't forget, in the description, I want my $10,000 EIDL grant, hashtag EIDL, and tag those senators, congressmen, and women, including the president and Secretary Mnuchin, so they can hear your needs. And if you're new to this channel and you want someone who's going to fight to the death, including to get your loan forgiven, please subscribe and hit that bell. Ladies and gentlemen, I am no lawyer. I'm going to do the best I can. I was up till 3 or 4 in the morning. I've read this damn thing 3 times. It's 87 pages long. I'll pin it in the top comment if you want to suffer through it. I'm going to summarize it. Let me do it right now, in fact, with one sentence. Give me 10 or 15 minutes, but let me do it in one sentence for you. If you applied for an EIDL loan, or you're about to get a loan, or you want more loan without doing a reconsideration, this is an out-of-the-park, absolute home run. I'm talking 600 feet, right out into the street. Home run. But if you're tuning in like a lot of you are, and you want specific answers on the $10,000 EIDL grant, it's not in there. But wait on, hold on. There's a big curveball. There's a new EIDL grant at the SBA that goes up to 50 G's. 50. So that's not clickbait in the title. I'm going to pin it. I'm going to go through it. I don't know whether to be tap dancing in the rain out in the street here just north of Atlanta or banging my head against the wall or both. So let me get into this. Please give me 10 minutes. If you got to come back, that's fine. Give me a thumbs up. Share it all over social. All right. Division E, page 29 of 87. And again, I'll pin it for you. Small business provisions. It's known as the PPP and EIDL Enhancement Act of 2020. I'm not going to go over PPP, but I'll summarize it quickly. If you have 200 employees or less, and you can show economic loss of 25% in revenue this year versus last, then this new PP is definitely for you. They are definitely doing a job in this bill, my opinion, of taking care of the smaller organizations. The veterans, thank you very much. I know I should have done that with my right hand for serving our country. I appreciate and I love you for that. I grew up at 5 minutes from the 10th Mountain Division in New York, the United States Army, for those who don't know, the 10th Mountain. I have tremendous respect for men and women in uniform of all colors, shapes, and sizes. All right, let me skip down to the EIDL part. And again, this is really, really good, like insanely good for loans and not so much for the grant on the 10 G's. And I know some of you are going, fuck, now what? But then they throw this curveball of 50 grand. So let me explain it to you. All right, Title IV. This is page 32 now. Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program Reform. A, Jovita Carranza will be fired immediately. No, it doesn't say it should though, right? Sorry, Jovita, but please. Section 1, it's called Sense of Congress. Does Congress even have any sense? I didn't know they had sense. But sense of Congress that businesses that remain harmed by ongoing pandemic and may not be able to make payments and therefore, and get this, are you sitting down? If you got a loan, want more loan, or about to get a loan, to me, I can't even believe what I'm about to read you. Quote, it encourages the SBA administrator, we need clarity there, to reduce the interest rate on EIDL loans. There was a bill put forward in the House 3 months ago from my home state of New York. I now live in Atlanta. Thomas Sweezy's trying to get the interest rate from 3.75 to 1%, matching that at PPP. And I explained, on a $150,000 loan over 30 years, that's a $76,000 savings. On a $25,000 loan over 30 years, it's a $16,500 savings going down to 1%. So it doesn't specify how low Ms. Carranza can go, but it's telling her to go lower. And this is the part that I can't believe I'm about to read. Offer deferments up to 4 years on payments of interest and principal. In other words, ladies and gentlemen, the current CARES Act says you're supposed to pay back your EIDL loan starting a year from now. This bill says the SBA has the authority to give you 4 years to start making payments, which I also think is going to help us, and it may be why it's in this bill, to get loan forgiveness. The next administration, no matter who wins, is going to get 4 years. They may be putting this in here knowing they ultimately want to have this forgiven, meaning you wouldn't owe any money on the loan. But my goodness, instead of having to pay in a year, don't have to start paying until 4 years from now. That's a huge, huge victory. Goes on to say that the SBA should use discretion to provide relief to the hardest hit small businesses and that they will receive direct loans, blah, 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 under the EIDL program. The next section talks about requirements. Let me summarize it. It basically says, Ms. Carranza, no more breaking the law. But again, it's light on specifics. They've got to support with all these documents. They've got to have regular audits, et cetera, et cetera. They got to be transparent with the data. You know, there is some good things in there. They want to know who got economic losses. And by the way, I may not get to it, so before I forget. It gets rid of the loan caps. Are you listening to what I just said? The $150,000 loan cap is no more. It's back to $2 million. So again, if you want the loan, got the loan, or want more loan without doing a reconsideration, which takes 6 weeks, this bill streamlines the process and gets rid of the caps. It goes back to $2 million. So this, again, huge victory for those that are looking for loan or more of it. But you made it this far at 6 minutes. I'm going to try like hell to keep it under 10. There's nothing in here. And if anyone else can see it, Kevin, Max Maher, Andrew Cartwright, L.A. Late, Dan over at I Allegedly, my brother from another Rod Squad, anybody out there wants to read this bill and tell me where the 10 grand language is, it's not in there. Unlike the Problem Solvers Caucus and especially S.4227, which says 10 grand within 3 days, it's not in here. However, and this is a rather interesting section. It authorizes the SBA, quote, $40 billion to provide grants, $20 billion of which will be set aside to businesses located in low-income communities, veterans who have served this country, thank you very much. And this is a part that I find humorous. Entities controlled by an economically disadvantaged individual or socially disadvantaged individual. How is Javita Carranza, who's been violating the law now for 6 months, going to determine who's socially disadvantaged? Talk about ambiguous. But again, I read on. That's $40 billion. It took us 6 months or thereabouts, well, 5 months to get through $20 billion on the EIDL grant. So $40 billion, half of which goes to those in need, veterans, thank you, have served this country, and the socially disadvantaged. You could make a case that I'm socially disadvantaged. You could make a case that anybody's socially disadvantaged. So talk about ambiguous. But here's the part about the 50 grant. Firms can receive the lesser of, so allow me to explain this. Working capital needed for 180 days, which is 6 months, under the current EIDL calculations, or 50 grand. So get this, listen to this. If you do $5 grand a month in revenue, which is working capital, that's a $60,000 a year business. Well, $5 grand a month times 6 months is 30 grand. So according to this bill, and correct me if I'm wrong, somebody out there, it says you're entitled under this new program, and it's called the SBA Lifeline Grant. You're entitled to $30,000, not up to 10. And you could get $50,000 or the lesser of 6 months of working capital, aka revenue. So yes, does this mean we're going to get our money quickly? No. Does this mean the Senate's probably going to say, where the hell are the details? And what about those that are in the queue? You bet. And if they don't, we're going to raise holy hell. But you have to admit, seriously, don't have to pay for 4 years, lower your rate to probably 1%, get rid of the $150,000 cap, which is in here, puts it back at $2 million, and give you a grant. Maybe this one replaces the old one. I don't know. Up to $50,000 instead of 10. But again, the big question you better have, that I better have, that I'm going to be asking my senator in about 20 minutes when I call her again, what does it mean for those that are in the queue? Who's going to get this $40 billion, aka up to $50,000 first? What determines socially disadvantaged? We need details. We need clarity. And we need everybody that's in the damn queue right now 7 million, in fact, to get served first. So Senate, if you're listening, and you're going to hear from me, David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler. I live in Georgia. I'm also calling Chuck Schumer right after that. We need clarity. We need more than 40 billion. If you're going to give out 50 grand instead of 10 grand, make it $100 billion. We thank you very much for getting rid of the caps. We thank you for deferring, holy shit, 4 years until you have to make a payment and lowering the interest rate, home run for those that get the loan, and streamlining the process. It reads in here, and you can read it for yourself. They basically get rid of the reconsideration that takes 6 weeks, if not longer, and they claim there's going to be a new streamlined process. So all in all, it's really, really good. In addition to that, $600 unemployment extension until the end of January next year, March if you're newly unemployed, and it's retroactive to September 9th. So if this passes in the next few weeks, and it's an if, especially in the Senate, you're going to get back pay of, what is that, 7 or 8 weeks? And you could stay unemployed and get $600 extra until the end of January. So my goodness, even though they scaled it down from 3.4 to 2.2, there's a hell of a lot of good stuff in here. But there's also a shitload of pork. 20 of these 87 pages are absolute bullshit. There's money for CBD projects. There's tunnels. There's a marina. I think it's in upstate. What the hell does that have to do with COVID-19? Answer, nothing. There's a bunch of vote buy in here. I just don't see Mitch McConnell and the Republicans in the Senate going for all this. So we got work to do. There's a lot of good in here. I will stay on top of this. I'm calling my senators, including where I'm from in New York, Chuck Schumer. I know a lot of the guys and gals in the House from New York as well as Georgia. We're not going to stop until you get 10 or wait, maybe $50,000 of EIDL grant, and officially, according to this bill, a loan up to $2 million. You're welcome if you qualify.